Now, I'm certified in small business management, so this class is where this really kicks in. There are three main types of businesses. There's the sole proprietorship, the partnership, and the corporation. The two main concerns confronting business owners when determining which structure is best for them are taxes and, of course, personal liability. The sole proprietorship is owned by a single person, and this makes it easy to form. The sole proprietorship is not considered a taxable entity on its own. The owner is essentially the company. In sole proprietorship, no taxes are levied against the company itself, but instead are based on the personal income taxes of the owner. The partnership is when two or more people own a business without incorporating. A partnership is also easy to form and has similar tax arrangements as sole proprietorship because, just like the sole proprietorship, the partnership is not a separate taxable entity. Now, there are two main types of partnerships. There's general and limited. A general partnership is when each partner is involved in the day-to-day management of the business and has unlimited liability for the debts incurred by the company. Limited partnerships, however, are a little different. In most limited partnerships, there's a limited partner who supplies the money and a general partner who supplies the expertise. Limited partners are liable only to the amount that they've invested in the partnership. However, their power in managing the company is also limited. In other words, in limited partnership arrangements, general partners run the show. It must be said that these two business formations have disadvantages in that it's often tough to raise large amounts of funds for capital. If the business fails, the sole proprietorship and the general partner are personally liable for debts. And the business exists only if the owner does. In other words, if you die, your business dies with you. The third type of business structure is called the corporation. The corporation as a form of business was created by a legislative act of government as a separate legal body for the explicit purpose of conducting business. The owners of the corporation are the shareholders or those who own stock in that corporation. How big your piece of ownership is depends on how many shares of stocks that you own. A corporation has most of the same responsibilities as an individual. It can sue and be sued, and it's also taxed like an individual. The advantages of the corporation are that there are no personal liability. The corporation itself can be sued, but not its individual owners. It's easy to transfer ownership, which can be divided into stock and sold in public markets, and if you die, the corporation lives on. Now, the major disadvantages of the corporation are that they're often costly and complicated to form. They're taxed separately from individuals, and this is known as the corporate income tax. The corporate tax rate differs depending on the amount of corporate income and the wings of Congress or the federal government here in Canada. The corporate income tax basically results in double taxation. The business gets taxed, and then the dividends or the payments to the owner of the company are taxed as income to individuals. It must be said that although corporations do have their disadvantages, most companies incorporate unless they're very small, like many of our virtual assistant businesses. Why? Because it's easier to raise capital or funding for your business as a corporation. Raising capital as a sole proprietor or partnership is much more difficult. Also, investors in corporations have limited liability, meaning the most that they could lose is the amount they invested in the company's stock. An LLC, or a limited liability company, is a separate entity from the owner and unfortunately is only available in the U.S. at this time. An LLC is quite similar to corporation, but it's also different in many ways. It was specifically designed for the small business. It has simple organizational requirements and formalities, and it offers the flexibility when it comes to the ownership and management of the company. An LLC allows the owners to decide how the profits of the business will be taxed, so it automatically qualifies for a single layer of taxation as opposed to the double taxes of the corporation structure. The LLC also provides a professional image to your prospective clients. And if this appeals to you, please contact an expert in this area before you proceed. Now, I wanted to give you an overview of the three main forms of businesses and also the LLC for those of you in the US, and also give you the main advantages and disadvantages of each. However, know that the majority of virtual assistant businesses begin as sole proprietorships, and many of them also continue as sole proprietors throughout the life of their business. Now, if you're thinking about incorporating, I strongly advise that you seek the advice of an accountant or lawyer who specializes in these different business structures. They'll be able to tell you the best business structure for you, your personal situation, and your business. Now let's talk a little bit about business licenses. And getting a business license is not a very complicated process. For those of us in Canada, you can simply go online to do this. Now, I don't know if you can go online in the US, probably, but it's similarly a simple process there as well. Visit your city or county office and ask them for an application. In either case, you'll be asked for the name of your business, your name and contact information, as well as the main business that you'll be conducting, and they need this for classification. There's a small fee to process the application. I know here in Ontario, that fee was just $60. Also check with your town or city about any special licensing or zoning requirements. Here in Wasaga Beach, Ontario, I have to have a license from the town to operate my home-based business, and the annual cost is $50.